morning.
Good morning, Rabbi.
We are learning Mishna Yevamos, Paet, chapter chapter 5, sorry. Mishna Daled, Mishna 4. Okay, so the Mishnah now is going to go through what we similarly went through before by one Yavim and one Yevama, by one woman falling to Yibum and one surviving brother. And now we're going to have the same combination of acts when we're talking about one brother and two wives that fell to him from the brother who died. So Ketzad, how is this? So get ready, because you have a lot of different combinations of different things. But it's not as complicated as it may sound. Asar Maimer Bezu, Maimer Bezu. The brother went over to both of his brother's wives. Now the rule is, if you do Yibam on one wife, then the other wife is free. You do a Chalitza on one wife, the other wife is free. But we also had situations where a person does Maimer. Maimer means that it's a kedushin, it's a betrothal that you would typically do when you get married, which according to Torah law does not apply by Yevama, but the sages instituted you should do it. You should do it and you should do it. And the rule is that once you make Maimer, which is kedushin, you betroth one of the wives, it's similar to Yibam in the fact that now the other wife, you can't marry her. Once you start doing the kedushin on one, that forbids the other one on you. We also learned that if, let's say, you go over to one of those women who fall for you for Yibam and gave her a get, give her a divorce. There's no divorce on a woman who's waiting for Yibam. You got to do a chalitza. But the sages say if you do it, it works to a certain degree. It'll be similar to chalitza, that it will now make it that once you give this woman a get, you cannot marry her, you can't do Yibam on her or on the other wife. So now we have the following situation. Asa Maimer Bezu or Maimer Bezu. He went over to one wife, meaning one of his sisters-in-law, and he did Maimer on her, and he went over to the other one and did Maimer on her. He did Kedushin on both. Okay, so as we said before, once you do Maimer on one, you can't marry the other. So he did Maimer on one wife, that made it forbidden on the other wife. He did Maimer on the other wife, made forbidden the woman that he already did Maimer on before. So both of them he can't marry. That means he's got to release them. So what do you got to do here? Tzrichais shnei gittin v'chalitza. You need two divorces and one chalitza. Each woman is married to him, right? Each woman he made kedushin on. If he made kedushin on each one, they're married to him. And therefore, if he's going to send them away, he's got to give them a get. He's got to give them a regular bill of divorce. Each one needs it. But then all you need is one chalitza, though, because as we said, if you do this Maimer on one of the women, it's only a kedushin. It's only betrothal according to rabbinic law. It doesn't affect the zika. It doesn't affect the yibam bond. So therefore, when he's not going to be doing yibam on them, you do chalitza on one to take off the Torah bond that the Torah says is still there. And therefore, once you give a chalitza to one, they're both going to be free. That's the first case. Now, Maimer Bezu, he did Maimer on one of the wives, the get lezu, and he gave a get to the other one. Just a different combination, okay? Now, but again, so the Maimer that he did on one forbade him on the other. The get that he gave to one, which again is only rabbinic, but it's similar to a chalitza. If you give a chalitza to one, the other one is forbidden to you. You give a get to one, the other one's forbidden to you. So in this case, there's one kedushin to one wife, and there's a get to the other wife. He cannot marry any of them now. So what does he got to do to release them? Tzricha get. The woman who had Maimer done to her needs a get because she was married to him. Midrabanan according to rabbinic law. V'chalitza. And now you got to give them a chalitza because according to Torah law, the yibam bond is still there.
Either one.
You get right. And at the end of the day, you got to give chalitza. You've got to release the yibam bond, and that can be done to either one of them. Good. Catching on. Now, Maimer Bezu, he did Maimer on one, give kedushin to one, uba lezu, and he cohabited with the other one, which means that he actually, according to Torah law, who's his full-fledged wife? The second one. the one he did a be'ila with, the one he cohabited with. That's how you do yibum. That's how a woman who is waiting for yibum becomes your wife. So what does this guy do? He went ahead and he did Maimra on one wife. But doing Maimra on one wife, that forbade him to do Yibam on the other wife. But he went over to the other wife anyway, and he cohabited with her. He did Yibam, and she became his wife. Because according to Torah law, he did exactly what has to be done for Yibam. Midrabban, according to rabbinic law, he wasn't allowed to do it, but he did it. And according to Torah law, it works. All right, but he can't stay married to her because he wasn't supposed to marry her in the first place. And the other woman he can't marry because in essence, by doing Yibam on one wife, the other wife is free and she's forbidden to marry. So therefore, what do we say here? Tzricha shnei gittin v'chalitza. You need 2 gittin here. At the end of the day, you did Maimer on the first woman. You did a kedushin, a rabbinic kedushin on the first woman. So you got to give her a get for that. You got to divorce her for that. And the second one, she's your full-fledged wife because you did Yibam with her, but you're not allowed to stay married to her because you first did Maimer on the other wife, and therefore you got to give her a get also. So you've got 2 gittin here to give, and the Mishnah says v'chalitza, and you also have to give a chalitza. Now, this is a repeat of something we had before. If the second one is considered doing Yibam, because he did Yibam. He did the act that makes her his full-fledged wife. And when you do that, any Zika bond, according to Torah law, is gone. So, okay, so this woman was married to him according to rabbinic law. This one's married to him according to Torah law. He gives 2 gittin. Why do you need it? Is there anything more you need? Why would you need anything more? Once you go ahead and you do Yibam, the full-fledged Yibam, the Zika, the connection to any of the wives is gone. Why is there a chalitza here? So this we already had before. When you do a yibam that you weren't supposed to do, the rabbi said it's not going to work like a regular yibam. It's not going to take off. It's not going to free her to remarry without doing chalitza. If you did a kosher yibam, let's call it, then on one of the wives, the other wife is free. Nothing needed. But if you basically did yibam you weren't supposed to do, the sages said that we don't consider that a full-fledged yibam, and you need to do chalitza you still need to do chalitza because rabbinically we look at it as if the bond is still there to some degree. So therefore, the Mishnah says in this case you got to give 2 gittin, give gittin to both of them because both of them were married to him. But you still got to do chalitza because the sages said a yibam that was not a kosher one is not going to fully take off the yibam bond, at least according to rabbinically. And you still need a chalitza to take off the yibam bond from both of them. Okay, last case for today. Maimar Bazu. He did Maimar on one woman, on one wife. The Chalatz Bazu, they did chalitza on the other one. Harishayna tzricha get. The first one needs a get. Why? You did Maimar on her. You did Maimar. If you did Maimar on her, you got to give her a get. Now, don't forget, what happened here was he did Maimer on one, and then he did Chalitza on the other. Chalitza has, according to Torah law, takes off everything, right? Takes off everything. There is no more Zika. There is no more Yibam bond between this brother and the 2 wives because he gave Chalitza to one, and that always knocks off the other one. But in this case, the problem is that you made Maimer, you did the rabbinic kedushin to one before you did the chalitza. So the chalitza that's done to the second wife will take off any kind of Zika bond, any kind of Yibam bond that was between the brother and the 2 wives. And basically the wife who didn't have Maimer, she's done. The other one who had Maimer done on her, had a rabbinic kedushin done on her, you got to give her a get. You can't be married to her, because once you do chalitza one wife, both wives become forbidden according to Torah law. But since he did a kedushin beforehand, therefore the halacha is that she needs a get because she's married to him through kedushin. But after that, there's nothing more needs to be done. That's it. After chalitza, there is nothing more. After chalitza, the yibam bond is gone. When you do chalitza, there's nothing rabbinic saying, well, at some point you didn't do anything wrong. You did chalitza. You did what you're allowed to do. And therefore, in that situation, we say, ein acha chalitza klum, which means you don't need, what does it say here? No, it didn't say that. All it says here is, harishona tzricha get. The first one needs a get because of the maimer. The chalitza then took off any kind of zika bond, any kind of ibn bond between the brother and the two wives, and everybody is now scot-free, and these women can go marry anybody they want. Okay, we will finish up the Mishnah next week. Okay. All right. We are now starting Klal Zayin, chapter 7, in the Chofetz Chaim. Is her Kabbalah Lashon Hara, the prohibition to believe, to accept Lashon Hara. Even if this guy publicly does it, like he's not afraid. He's saying what he's going to say. This derogatory statement he's saying about another person, and he's saying it publicly. All right. That doesn't give you the right to go ahead and assume that it's true. Some people might argue and say, if this guy is ready to publicly say such a thing, it must be true, because otherwise he would never do it. The halacha says that doesn't work. You can't do that. That's not a basis enough to be able to say you can believe the Lashon Hara. Just that as we've learned previously, you're allowed to take the matter under concern. You're allowed to be suspicious and then check into it if it's relevant. And if they investigate and it comes to that it's true, they're able to figure. They're able to clarify that it's actually true. So let's say the person got up and said, so and so did this sin, right? So just because it did it in public, you can't go in and believe it. Okay, but if there's relevance, you can investigate and see if it's true. And if it comes up being true, what will you do then? Go over to the person who did what was wrong and rebuke him for it. Meaning, if you take that, that's what it means to take it to as we said it before, lachish, to be suspicious, take the matter under concern. You're allowed. You don't believe it as a fact. You don't believe it, but you take it under concern. And what would that mean? That would mean that the people who heard it can investigate, see if it's true, and if it's true, then rebuke him. But as we said before, if checking into it has no relevance, there's no point that's going to come out of it, then there's no point of doing that. And therefore, the point is that you cannot accept any kind of Lashon Hara. The most you can do is be suspicious, and in the example of the Chofetz Chaim, clarify it. And if you clarify, you can then rebuke him for it. Then that's the way you go. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful Shabbos.
Thank you, everybody.